Do you ever feel like the world is just throwing way too much information at you? Too many articles, too many books, all these conflicting ideas.
You're not alone.
And our mission here is to give you that shortcut. We distill the critical knowledge for you right from the deep end of the source material.
And today, we are diving into something fascinating, the hidden architecture of how we interact. We're going to look past the words, the meeting notes, and focus on three fundamental forces: space, timing, and intention.
Yeah, and this deep dive is based on a whole stack of sources, everything from nonverbal communication guides to some pretty dense academic papers on proxemics, chronemics, social capital.
And we're treating these three as totally inseparable. They're the core architecture of how we actually make meaning with each other.
So the goal here isn't just to label a few gestures.
No, not at all. It's to understand how your underlying goal, your intention, uses the physical setup, which is space, and the rhythm of the situation, the timing, to get an outcome.
When you align all three, you're not just communicating anymore. You're basically dictating the flow.
You are.
Okay, let's unpack this. So we have to start by framing this core trio, right? Because our sources are really clear on this. These aren't just, three things on a list. They're deeply connected.
Absolutely.
You've all heard of proxemics, which is basically the study of how we use space.
Right. Space, or proxemics, gives you the physical context. It's the distance between people, how a room is arranged, the boundaries of your personal territory. It's the stage.
The static stage, I like that. And then you have timing, which the academics call chronemics. And this isn't just about being on time for a meeting.
No, it's much deeper. It's about how we perceive time, how long we're comfortable with silence, the whole rhythm and pace of an exchange. It's the beat of the interaction.
So you have the stage and the beat.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. Space and timing are just the context. Intention is the director.
The director.
It's your underlying goal, your motivation, whether it's conscious or not. It's what directs how you use that space and that timing. Think of a conductor. The orchestra's space and time is ready to go, but the conductor's intention determines if the music is fast and aggressive or slow and, intimate.
So the big takeaway here is that an interaction's effectiveness isn't just what you say, it's the alignment of all three. A random gesture doesn't mean much.
It's just noise.
But when it's directed by an intention,
it becomes a predictable, coded message. Precisely. If your intention is to dominate a conversation, you might use big, expansive gestures to take up space, and you might use sharp interruptions. That's timing.
But if you want to collaborate,
you'd do the opposite. You'd shrink the physical distance, and you'd give people more time to speak. The action only gets its meaning from the goal behind it.
Okay, so if space, timing, and intention are the blueprint, let's see how that blueprint scales up. Now let's start with maybe the messiest place, group dynamics.
Oh yeah. Board meetings, project teams, you name it.
These three forces are always at play, shaping how well a group works together.
Well, the physical setup, the space, is huge here. It's non-negotiable. A circular arrangement, for instance, where no one's really at the head of the table, that actively encourages discussion. It creates a feeling of equality because everyone can see everyone else. That setup physically reinforces an intention to collaborate.
But if the goal is just to transfer information, a lecture,
then a linear setup is better. Think of a classroom or an auditorium. That structure has a clear hierarchy. It's designed for a one-way flow of information.
Okay, but hold on. If that linear setup is better for control, doesn't that just kill collaboration no matter what you say your intention is? You can say, we're all a team, but if the boss is sitting at the head of a giant table...
That's it. You've just hit on the core conflict.
The space is signaling command.
Yes. If the space, that linear setup, conflicts with the stated intention to collaborate, the group will almost always default to what the space is telling them. The environment wins. And that's before we even get to timing.
Which, in a group, is all about strategic pacing. Knowing when to switch gears.
Exactly. The most effective groups are masters of this. They know the right time to have a messy, wide-open brainstorming session, and they know the exact moment to lock it down and make a decision.
It's a rhythm.
It is. And groups also evolve over time, The timing of an intervention, like dropping some critical feedback halfway through a project that can completely change the outcome, it can shape the team's mood for good.
This feels like it connects directly to intention in groups, and our sources Chris has brought up this idea, the Johari window.
Yeah, the Johari window is a great model for this. The group's climate is shaped by both collective and individual intentions. If everyone, especially leaders, has an explicit intention to be open and to share knowledge,
It builds trust.
and here's the key thing. It expands what the model calls the open area. That's the space of shared knowledge in the group. And that's where a group is at its most transparent and innovative. The intention literally creates the openness.
Okay, that's the macro level, the whole group. But what about when we zoom way in to just one person, the individual body language? That's kinesics, right?
That's kinesics, yep. The study of body movement. In this context, space translates directly into perceived power or threat.
How your body takes up space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Using broad, expansive gestures, taking up more physical room, that communicates confidence, sometimes dominance. On the other hand, making yourself smaller, shrinking your body, that can signal deference or, feeling uncomfortable.
That reminds me, I was waiting for a coffee once, and I must have stepped a bit too close to this guy's backpack on the floor. He turned around and just gave me this look.
Mm-hmm.
I had zero aggressive intention, none at all. But my lack of spatial awareness was immediately read as an invasion of his territory.
That is a perfect illustration. Your timing was off, and it created a spatial threat, completely separate from your actual intention. The simple proximity was the message.
And timing adds the force to that message.
It adds the force. Think about the speed and rhythm of a movement. Contrast a slow, deliberate nod, someone considering what you said, with a sharp, sudden gesture.
Like pounding a fist on the table.
Bam! Exactly. That sudden change in speed reinforces the emotion, it adds meaning. If you're angry, that forceful movement is read as aggressive. The timing basically dictates the intensity.
So here's the key takeaway for you listening. Your intention has to be aligned with your physical execution.
Let's use an example, a contract negotiation. Your underlying intention is to close the deal. So your use of space, maybe leaning in slightly to show you're engaged, and your timing pausing deliberately before you speak, it all has to align.
And if it doesn't, if you're leaning forward, but then you suddenly cross your arms and speed up your talking.
The message breaks. The crossed arms, that closed posture, it signals disengagement. It completely defeats your goal of closing the deal. The whole physical performance either supports or betrays the goal. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we can zoom out again to social dynamics. This is where space and time aren't just individual choices. They're often culturally determined norms that we learn.
This is where you see cultural differences so clearly.
Yeah.
Every culture has its own rules about appropriate social and personal distance.
Absolutely.
In one culture, standing at arm's length away is normal for a conversation. In another, that same distance feels cold, like you're being shut out.
And if you violate those ingrained spatial rules, those proxemics, it can instantly create discomfort, even conflict.
Yeah.
But it goes broader than that. Think about how we design our cities.
Like public squares, maybe.
Or just suburban sprawl. The physical design of our communities has a huge influence on whether we form social ties, whether we even interact with our neighbors. Space is literally the architecture for social capital.
Then you have timing on a social level, which brings us back to chronamics and this key concept of time orientation.
Right. Monochronic versus polychronic.
And this is so critical if you work with international teams.
It's everything. Monochronic cultures, they tend to see time as linear, like a checklist. You do one thing, then the next. Punctuality and schedules are rigid.
Polychronic.
Polychronic cultures often do many things at once. Schedules are flexible, interruptions are normal, the relationship, the immediate task. That's what's prioritized over the clock.
And the consequences of getting that wrong are pretty severe.
Oh, absolutely. If you're from a polychronic culture, your monochronic colleague doesn't see your flexibility as being efficient or relationship focused. They see it as deep disrespect, as you being unreliable.
Wow.
It's a devastating misalignment on a social scale. So understanding and adapting to these different time orientations is just crucial for social cohesion.
And at the end of the day, the intentions of everyone in that society shape the shared value.
Exactly. If a culture's collective intention is to prioritize efficiency, then punctuality becomes a core value that reinforces monochronic time. The culture is really just the sum of all the successful intentions that align with the accepted uses of space and time.
So what does all of this mean for you listening right now? We've looked at the parts, but the real power here is in the interdynamics, how these three things create this constant self-reinforcing feedback loop.
It's a closed system of influence, and it's running under the surface of every single interaction you have. It starts with intention driving your execution.
goal.
Your goal. You decide on it, and then you manipulate space and timing to try and achieve it. A leader who wants to build camaraderie will consciously plan social time, that's timing, and sit shoulder to shoulder with their team, that's space.
And that execution, the physical distance, the rhythm, it's all perceived by the other person. It influences how they feel and how they react.
And then the loop closes. That reaction from them shapes the whole dynamic, and it cycles back to inform your next intention. If the leader's attempt at camaraderie felt, forced or intrusive to the team,
Their perception,
yes, will cause the leader to maybe retreat or change their strategy next time.
This is why successful interactions depend completely on aligning the intended message with the actual execution of space and timing, right? You can't just say you're empathetic.
If your intention is empathy, but you're standing far away and your timing is rushed, the loop breaks, the message fails. You have to harmonize all three.
So this deep dive really shows us that mastering nonverbal communication means you have to look beyond just one or two cues. You have to understand this critical interplay of the physical setup, the rhythm, and the underlying goal.
And this leads to a really crucial final thought, a strategic insight that came directly from the cognitive science and our sources. The human brain, amazingly, is not primarily focused on what is happening right now.
It's not.
No. What really preoccupies the brain is predicting what is about to happen next. It's a prediction machine, through and through.
That is a powerful idea. So if our brains are built to anticipate the future moment,
then the skillful, intentional manipulation of space and timing becomes maybe the most potent strategic tool you have. By controlling the environment, you're not just acting in the present. You are preemptively guiding the other person's prediction of what comes next.
you're shaping their future intention, their behavior.
Subtly, yes, you are.
So be mindful of these three dimensions in your next meeting, your next negotiation. You are not just communicating in the present, you are architecting the future.